Hello everyone and welcome back to the 2020.1 South African Sim GT series. This time we're racing at Monza for round 4 and at this legendary circuit, and I'm joined in the commentary booth by Daniel Haynes. Welcome, Daniel.
Welcome, Jason. Welcome everybody that's watching. We've already got quite a few watching. Yeah, good to be at Monza. I love this track. It's well, I don't think anyone. Well, I don't know, there's been a few people that said they don't like it, but I can't understand why. I think it's a great track.
Yeah, I think I'm a fan as well. Can provide some fantastic racing if we can get past turn 1 without too much of a big accident. But
yes, turn 1. That's killed many a driver's best race, isn't it?
Yeah,
F1 best drivers in the world, they still struggle in turn 1. So fingers crossed.
Hopefully our starting procedure will go a long way to limit any sort of contact on that opening corner.
Procedure is made for a track like this, really, isn't it? Turn 1 is notorious for a bit of an incident.
Yeah, absolutely. And before we carry on, JJ in the YouTube live chat is asking how to sign up for this racing. Well, JJ, you're very welcome to visit our website at simracesa.co.za. Click on the esports leagues tabs and you'll find a sign up form there. And you can fill that form out. That'll come through to me via email, and then I'll get back to you as soon as possible. So
yeah, you could be racing next week.
Yeah, we could be racing Wednesday night in Division 2 of this race. So it is confirmed for this Wednesday evening. And
then you can get your strategy notes from tonight's race and use it in 2 days' time.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, we've got the South African Sim GP round at Imola next week. And then the week after that, we got the ACC GT round. And that is at Kyalami on the 4th of May, which we're looking forward to.
Yeah, Kyalami, there is some guys that have had serious practice on that track in ACC for they've been racing it for weeks on end, so that's going to be super competitive.
There have been many local sim racing events racing Kyalami, of course, the big race, part of the solidarity race, I beg your pardon, and many others as well. But I don't think we can get tired of Kyalami, so we look forward to our round as well.
I have heard a couple of drivers on the forums or in Discord saying that they have had enough of it, but I think just temporarily they would like a break for a few days, not forever. But they've been on it that long. The times there are going to be world record pace, I would imagine. Yeah. Got to be close.
I suppose as long as the racing is good, all can be forgiven.
Yeah, there's not going to be any turn 1 incidents there.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. Unless it's raining. Please be raining. I'm a sucker for rain. I love it. We can't have it in AC though, but it's nice to be back in the old faithful sim of Assetto Corsa. It's done us well for so long. Yeah. And it still looks pretty good on my screen, I have to say, with all the bells and whistles turned on.
Yes, it does look good, doesn't it? And we are running custom shaders on the streaming PC, of course. But I mean, that goes hand in hand with Assetto Corsa these days, all the mods that are available for it.
I think that's pretty much the reason why it's lasted so long is the fact that it's been modded to this point, which is getting on the verge of every other sim already. So yeah, I haven't turned anything off for ages, so I actually can't remember what the original Assetto Corsa looks like, but it does look pretty good.
Ultimesh Mohammed asks, silly question, are drivers allowed to teleport to pits in the event of a crash, or do they drive the rest of the lap into the pits? After an accident, if their car is very badly damaged, they can escape back to the pits. But when they do go back to the pits, they actually lose a lap of time, and they also gain a penalty as well. I think their controls are locked for about 20 seconds or so. So if the car is able to get back to the pits, it really does pay off to get back to the pits and get the car repaired instead of escaping to pits.
Yeah, the only time you ever go to pits in race is if you physically can't get there, basically.
Yeah. So back to the action on track at the moment with just 10 minutes remaining. Watching Nick Hodgson racing for Point Blank Racing, of course, and currently leading the South African Sim GTC standings, the AC leg of the championship, which we're watching this evening. And of course, the overall South African Sim GT series standings. That's Assetto Corsa and Assetto Corsa Competizione together. So Nick looking to extend his advantage in the championship this evening. And let's see what he can do.
Bit of an AC specialist is Nick Hodgson. Devon Lish is always quick though, and he's in second position at the moment, and I wouldn't put it past him.
Yeah, and obviously an expert driving the BMW as well. As long as I've known Nick Hodgson in sim racing, he's driven this BMW Z4 GT3.
Yeah, he's a bit of a old faithful BMW driver, isn't he? Oh, Lish has gone to 0.2 of a second, so 0.2 behind, so he's clawed back a lot of time. I was looking at the RSS world record pace, and no surprises Monza being one of the factory tracks and the factory cars, and it's been going for years and years. The times are insane. The fastest time is the Lambo, 1:45.5 is the world record pace. And the Z4 is 1:46.6. So Hodgson's 1.2 seconds off world record. But to be fair, we've got BOP and we've got a hot track, and that's probably why. It's still very, very quick times, but yeah, I just couldn't believe how quick the world record pace was, because we're usually very, very close to it. I think BOP might affect Monza a little bit more than any other track, to be fair, with the straights.
Yes, I think so. Another fast driver this evening is Dirkie Swanepoel. Had bad luck with his ping last time round. He had to actually leave the server. But flying this evening with the 49.231, currently in third position in the SRC Audi sim racing crew. I'm looking forward to seeing how he gets on. He's a fair amount of the pace, however. He's a good, 1.5 seconds off the pace at the moment. Let's see if he can improve. Just about square on his best delta at the moment as he rounds Parabolica with just over 7 minutes remaining.
I'm looking for who else was high up there. We had the Patterson family. Alan's put his time in, but Kieran's not set a time yet. So he's obviously had a few cancelled laps because he's halfway through the qualifying session. He hasn't got a flyer logged. But I take it he's on track, is he? He's showing on my unofficial timing screen, but not on the stream timing screen. But I don't think he's actually set a flying lap yet.
Yeah, I hope Kieran's not experiencing some sort of a technical difficulty and not frantically trying to sort something else before the qualifying comes in.
Okay. Right, I was wondering why he hadn't set a lap yet. Yeah, that'll be why. So he's got 6 minutes to sort it out, hopefully, plus a bit of overtime.
And Gert Klinger asks, is this in South Africa? Yes, it is in South Africa. And he lives in Belgium. Well, welcome Gert from Belgium. You're very welcome to race with us. We've had a number of overseas drivers racing the South African simGT series over the years. And so Hayel Khan asked if there's any Xbox events. Unfortunately not. We do not host Xbox events.
Apart from the Dirt Rally 2.0 League, he can join in the Dirt Rally. If he joins the Discord channel and you've got Dirt Rally 2 on the Xbox, that's cross-platform, so you can join the leaderboard for that.
Yeah, of course. How could I forget
Might
that?
be a stepping stone for you to get a PC and then join us for the rest of it. Yeah, it's a shame. Potentially, ACC has the possibility of going cross-platform. That would be interesting.
Yes.
I think it's not certainly going to be on release when it goes out to consoles, but eventually it could very well be cross-platform. So we could open it up to not just PC drivers in the ACC League.
Yeah, I don't think it's expected, but it's possible, isn't it? With the latest
I guess
developments.
AC would have been possible, but it came out way before they started doing this cross-platform stuff. And now there's so many games now that are cross-platform that ACC. If I was Kunos, I'd be doing it. Put it that way, because there's no competitive advantage, is there, between a PC and an Xbox? So it makes sense to do it. But yeah, we'll see whether they get that sorted.
Of course, we would love to see that, of course, because we would see an explosion in numbers for the league.
Yeah, 100% PlayStation 4, Xbox, brilliant. Yeah,
that would be absolutely incredible. So right now it is still Nick Hodgson on provisional pole position, leading by 0.3 of a second ahead of Devon Lisher. And Neil Berger has crept up into third position there for Patterson Works Racing in the 246 Audi. So Neil Berger putting on
That's a
some
quick-
great pace.
Yeah, quick time that is, isn't it? 1:48.5. Well done to Neil Berger.
Of course, that moves down Dirkie Swanepoel to 4th position. And then we've got Peter Geldenhuys in 5th position in the SRC Lamborghini.
Kieran's got going. He's in 7th place, so he set a lap time. So that's good that he's got over his technical difficulties.
Here's Kieran now on screen and is 10th and a half. Better than his best delta so far. So 48.89 on the cards. Looking at 5th position is Kieran, if he can keep this momentum up.
Yeah, he's the driver that's probably not only putting one quick banking lap in, he's probably got the most to improve, hasn't he? I'd expect him to be a little bit higher. Got some family rivalry between the two. Obviously, they were racing very, very closely last time out in Sebring. And then Alan just dropped back a little bit, didn't he? Had a few issues in the race, but qualifying, they're very, very close between the two.
Yeah, the father-son outfit doing well this evening. As you mentioned, Daniel, they're in 7th and 8th position provisionally. Still time to improve with just over 3 minutes remaining. And it's just 3/100ths of a second between them at the moment. Absolutely nothing in it.
I think we got a Dewald Nell fan in chat, but I don't think he does AC anymore. He's just purely racing in ACC, so you'll see him in a couple of weeks' time when we do the next round of the ACC Championship.
Just going to have a look down the order to see if anyone's on a better lap. Adrian Govender is looking to improve, but square with his best delta. Kieran Patterson now starts a flying lap, currently in 7th position, as we mentioned.
Yes, unless he's got a lot of fuel on board, this will probably be his last flyer. But he's instantly 2/10 up on his delta and gaining 3/10 as he goes around Curva Grande into the 2nd chicane. Interesting. I can't believe it, but like 4 weeks ago, I was stood on the side of this track, literally just before this whole mess started.
Wow.
I was stood here, just on the 2nd chicane, and behind that wall that you see on the left-hand side of the track, it's just a main road with cars driving past it. It makes it look like it's in the middle of a forest, in the middle of nowhere, but it's not. It's built right in the middle of a town, the town of Monza, just north of Milan. Very surprising, but I should imagine the locals love Formula One, but on Formula One race weekend, I can't imagine you get much sleep because the noise must be horrific if you happen to live right next to the circuit.
Yeah, Monza is definitely one track that I want to go and visit sometime. I've been to Nürburgring, I've been to the Nordschleife, to Spa, to the Nürburgring. Yeah, I've said Nürburgring already. Where else have I been? Hockenheim, of course. It's quite something.
It's worth a visit. I was very disappointed that unfortunately I was there literally the week that the whole pandemonium started and the museum got shut that first day that I went there. So I couldn't go in the museum, unfortunately, but to get to at least wander around the track, including the old historic bank circuit, which is now, unfortunately, just looks overgrown, forgotten about and left, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, around Parabolica, they've got like you can see the old oval and you can just walk underneath it. It's weeds everywhere. But a bit of a shame. But it's basically just in the town park. It's not what I expected, I have to say. Yeah. I was thinking
sort
more
of
like Spa,
in the middle of everything.
Probably in the desert, in the forest.
So while we were talking there, Devon Lisher has gone to provisional pole position with just 20 seconds remaining. And it's not even a 10th of a second between himself and Nick Hodgson. And Peter Geldenhuys has now moved to 3rd at 2 with a 48.4. So getting like tight at the sharp end of the field. Kieran Patterson didn't improve that last lap round. Interestingly enough, he's actually in the pits, so it looks like he will start from 7th position or lower this evening. Devon Lisher's abandoned his lap. Nick Hodgson's on a flyer still, but he's 0.8 of a second slower. And what is Peter
so Devon Lisher gets it the death.
He does, yeah.
Very well done by Devon.
Cool.
See, we've got Christopher Langeveld in chat. I wonder why he's not on circuit. We expect him to see on the circuit. Is he not doing AC anymore?
I don't think Chris is doing this round. No. Hopefully we'll see him in the next ACC round, however.
I'm sure we will.
Okay, so it is Devon Leshen who will start from pole position ahead of Nick Hodgson. Peter Kalnes there in third position. Neil Berger in fourth. Dirkie Swanepoel, top 5 for him. You'll be happy about that. Adrian Govender in sixth. The two Pattersons in seventh and eighth. Corne Bird in ninth. Barry May in 10th position. Peter Kraling there in 11th. Henry Rue in 12th. Dirk Brand in 13th. I'm pretty sure you can pick up his live stream as well from his account if you want some onboard action. And we've got Craig Hunter then 14th. Hannes van der Beek in 15th. And Mark McGeer rounds up the field in 16th position in his McLaren. So that is your 16 drivers this evening. And while the drivers get ready for the start of the formation lap, we're going to take a short break. Welcome back to Monza as we have started the formation lap. The drivers do a full pace lap for speeding up to race pace. One thing is Lesmo 3 corner. In fact, it's Ascari turn 10. I beg your pardon. So I got my corners mixed up. And 49 lap race this evening, including this one. And while the drivers do their formation lap, we're going to take a look at the current Drivers' Championship standings. Currently, it is Nick Hodgson leading the Drivers' Championship by just 5 points from Peter Geldenes. And we've got Kieran Patterson there in the AM class in third overall in the GTC Championship by a set of Corsa leg of the South African simGTc series. They with 88 points. Just 9 points behind leader Nick Hodgson. Devon Leshen in fourth position. Winner from
How does that
Kyalami.
work with Devon Leshen? Because on your time, you've got 47 and 50 points. You should be on 97. Or maybe one of those is wrong. But okay, either way, I've got a drop race to go. Devon Leshen is the second in Daytona.
Yes, in fact, yeah, those figures are not right, are they? So let's ignore that for now.
Sorry, Dave.
No problem.
I'm just staring at him thinking,
no problem.
Oh, Devon Leshen's had some blinding results and he's in fourth.
There's a problem with that spreadsheet, so let's just moving on now.
Oh, shame. Okay.
It's something to look at tomorrow.
What's covered there is Nick Hodgson and Devon Leshen are incredibly close for this championship, and they're incredibly close in this race as well. There's less than a tenth between them in qualifying. So yeah, it's all about Devon Leshen and Nick Hodgson at the moment. But I'm sure Peter Geldenes is not gonna be far behind. I wouldn't have thought.
Yeah.
Devon Leshen's the unfortunate character that's going into turn 1 first, firmly with eyes half on the road, probably more than half on the rear view mirror, to see what all the other drivers are doing behind him. So fingers crossed we get through turn 1 without any incidents.
Not like my spreadsheet turned out to be the incident, but anyway. It's all good. Back to the racing now.
I shouldn't have said anything about just in case someone else mentioned it.
That's quite right. I must
We've got 32 people watching that they might have picked that up.
Yeah, absolutely. So Devon Lish now approaching the start of this race. Off he goes. And got a good gap back at Nick Hodgson. But watch that Lamborghini. Peter Helden is there in third position. Could close up to the rear of that BMW pretty rapidly. Here he comes. What's going to happen to turn 1 now? Will they get through there cleanly?
I hope these guys have judged the braking zone with the draft.
Under braking we go for the first time this evening.
They're clean at the moment.
Yeah, through Variante del Rettifilio, as they call it.
Towards the back of the field, are they still clean?
I think everybody's got through cleanly. Looks like it. Yes.
There was a BMW with some scratches and Mike McGear, I think, might have had a bit of an incident. But apart from that, we're through very cleanly from Monza. Well done, guys.
Dirk Brain's got Peter Kraling there for 11th position. That move happening off camera. But it's Devon Lish who leads the way on this opening lap. And Peter Helden is looking dangerous, isn't he, in the Lamborghini? He wants to get past Peter Helden as soon as possible. Breed's got Alan Patterson for 8th position. And we've got a Lamborghini at the back. Peter Kraling's fallen right back to 16th. Look at that. So the work for him to do before the end of this race.
And we've got Devon Lish on the medium tyres, guys, interestingly. So we've got Nick Hodgson staying on the softs. He likes the soft. Gelner's also on the softs. But Devon Lish and Neil Berger and Dirkie Swanepoel are on the medium tyre. So if Devon managed to pull away on the mediums, he's going to be in a very, very strong position in this race. Because Nick Hodgson, we saw when he was at Sebring, those softs were struggling halfway through, and he was let off a little bit there.
Yes. You watch a lot of wheel banging action here between Govender and Patterson. So
side by side round Parabolica.
In fact, Govender's gone round the outside of Dirkie Swanepoel. So great move there by Govender, moves up into 5th position, but now under pressure down the long main straight. Dirkie Swanepoel in his slipstream. Can Swanepoel do anything about Govender? Under
in the braking zone of turn 1, he's on the inside.
But no, he decides against it. Swanepoel now under pressure from Kieran Patterson. So this is the battle over 6th position now. Breed now under pressure from Alan Patterson. I think Breed's actually just got past Alan Patterson. Kieran Patterson there, battling it out. Dirkie Swanepoel around the outside. What a move there. Up to 6th position goes Kieran Patterson. See if we can get away from Swanepoel and go after Adrian Govender. So Daniel, quite a subdued start there from what we were expecting, but a number of passes already.
Yeah, I was expecting guys off in the... Well, I got a guy off in the grass there. Who's that? It's one of the Pattersons. No, Mayer, is it? No, it's Alan Patterson off on the grass. There is someone. But yeah, I was expecting a lot of stuff happening into turn 1, and everyone's super, super clean. So it's actually very, very good driving from everyone here this evening.
So Adrian Govender looking dangerous. He's straight onto the back of Neil Berger. Is Govender running an alternative strategy of some sort?
Yeah, looking on the screens, we've got... What's Govender on? Let's have a look. He's on the soft tyre, is Adrian Govender. He's got Neil Berger in the mediums in front of him. But Devon Lish's pace on the medium tyre is very, very impressive. Nick Hodgson now has got his softs warmed up and is now putting pressure on Devon Lish. So he took quite a bit of time on that lap. But Lish is on the medium, so he just needs to keep calm. I think it will come to him in the stint. Got another Patterson car off wide there.
That is Neil Berger to take to the escape road. He did slow down not to gain any type of advantage, so he'll slot behind Govender once again. Good stuff there. Let's go back to the front now as Hodgson's really putting on pressure to Devonish.
That that BMW is probably going to struggle to keep up with the Lambo down the straights. The Lambo does have the track record in Assetto Corsa at Monza, so it does have a little bit of an advantage. Over a second quicker than the BMW Z4 actually, before BOP is taken into account. So Nick's on a bit of a backward step compared to the Lambo anyway.
Neil Bergen under pressure from Kieran Patterson. In fact, Patterson's made the move already before the braking zone. So Kieran Patterson up into 5th position now. In the background there you see Krayling and McGeer swapping positions. I think that's after Krayling braked himself and had to run off the circuit. And just held back there to allow McGeer back past him. A big welcome to all our viewers watching live on YouTube.
Yeah, I got a few questions in the chat already. What's the most common steering rig for most drivers? I think the most common is probably Logitech wheels. I would imagine, got to be by quite a long stretch. G27s, G29s. Yeah. But there's not anything that can work as a steering input you can use. Everyone will swear over one's better than the other, but Logitech wheel's perfectly fine to get involved. You definitely need a wheel though. We did have who was it? The famous keyboard driver that we've got. I can't remember now.
Yeah, that's we had Quake Claessens. He used this keyboard and a mouse. So he used the keyboard for the accelerator and the braking, and a mouse for the steering.
That's just nuts.
Believe it or not. And he was very competitive.
He's now got a G29, I think, and he's even more competitive, unfortunately. We should have made him stay with a keyboard and mouse. But yeah, it shows that you probably can do it. Probably not advised. We've got Patterson car again.
That's Neil Berger.
Dropped back to 9th position.
Berger's at a massive off.
Patterson behind him. Yeah, that's damage on there, isn't there? Cracked windscreen as well.
Oh, and these two have come together. Kieran Patterson and Edrin Govender. So a lot of
Scary.
The Patterson works out. He's going through a lot of drama on this lap 5 of 49.
Yeah, body panelist is going to be busy on the Patterson cars at the end of this race.
A lot of dust being flicked up in the background.
But yeah, you could any sort of steering wheel you like, you can get involved. Highly recommend it. Great fun.
Now, there's absolutely nothing wrong with the Logitech wheels, G25, 27, 29s. They did a fantastic job. As I'm talking now, we have a change in the leadership, and it is Hodgson who goes to the front, outbraking Lisha.
Replay.
Yes, we've only had a replay.
A second replay of that one. Breaking into turn 1. Kieran
Patterson's got Turkey Swan up for 5th position too. It's all kicking off here on lap 6.
Now this is interesting. So we've got Nick on the soft tyre, Devonish on the mediums, as we previously mentioned. So Devonish doesn't need to be as concerned as he might be, because he'll know that he's on the mediums, probably suspect Nick's always gone out on the softs. And we saw at Sebring, towards the end of the stint, Nick Hodgson, that BMW was getting pretty sideways. So let's see after 45 minutes of tyre wear on that BMW, how Nick can handle it, and whether Devonish starts coming back at him. That's what I'm thinking is going to happen.
The two Patterson works out. He's now Alan Patterson, Barry Mayer together, 9th and 10th position. Let's see what happens to those cars as the race progresses. Henry Roon on the, I think it's a lone Mercedes-Benz this evening. And the pressure from Craig Hunter. Craig Hunter, new driver at SimRace South Africa. A big welcome to you, Craig. I look forward to you going faster and faster as your career progresses at SimRace South Africa.
Yeah, it doesn't take long to work your way up the leaderboard, does it? You can tell real drivers very quickly as well, because they get up there quick.
Dirk Brand got massive drive out of Ascari and has put the move on Corne Breer down the long back straight. So Dirk Brand doing well this evening. Well, Craig Hunter's fallen down. Oh, see, Daniel, I mentioned Craig Hunter. Look what's happened.
Oh, and he's got a bent wing and everything. He's had proper damage there.
Oh,
and
there's another car involved too. It's that Peter Crayling.
Those two have come together.
Those two cars, we're wanting to get back
Serious
to the pits
damage.
as soon as possible. Oh, we've got another move here. We've got bent rear wing on the Audi being passed by a damaged McLaren as well. Well, that McLaren isn't too bad, in fact.
Yeah. We saw Neil Berger go off earlier. I think that damage he's been carrying from earlier, so he's probably got aero damage. He probably wants to come in and repair that for Monza, as these two have done as well, though with aero damage.
Yeah. Hopefully they can get those cars fixed as quickly as possible, fuel them up and perhaps get to the end.
Famous Monza for being such a very, very quick track with, as far as F1 standards go these days, basically no runoff area. So that, not surprising, they've had plenty of fatal accidents here over the years since it commenced. It's a bit different from the more modern tracks with massive, great big runoffs. Here, if you go off in some of the chicanes, you're going to hit the wall. Also at speed as well.
And a big welcome to Bashir Jadwat, multiple South African Sim GD champion at Sim Race South Africa, joining us in the chat.
He's been busy over lockdown, I think. Well, everyone has, in doing Assetto Corsa races or ACC races especially.
Yeah.
Seems like every man and his dog is buying a sim rig at the moment. Yeah. Guys that have never heard of sim racing before really getting involved is good to see. I can't actually keep... At the first week, I was like trying to keep up with them all. Now I can't actually keep up with all the races that are going on with real-world drivers. This just seems to be like 3 or 4 a day.
Comes Henry in the big Mercedes-Benz, putting a move on Barry May. Can he make it stick now? The Audi might be a bit under braking, no. And Henry gets the Merc stopped. And that 10th position is his. But as I say that, he runs off the circuit. And through goes Barry May to reclaim it.
I think the secret with the braking zone into turn 1 is you really need to be side by side at the 200-meter marker before you actually think about making a move, because if you're not, then it's a lunge and you will have an accident.
Yeah, we are experiencing quite the sim racing revolution, I feel, during this corona crisis.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, you got like Jenson Button driving, all the old Formula 1 drivers. I see Sebastian Vettel this week said that he's just bought a rig.
Yeah.
And he does nothing social media-wise, does he? He hasn't got an Instagram, he hasn't got a Facebook, never likes to get involved with anything. And he goes, oh, I suppose I better do some racing online. I think he's probably got someone setting it up for him. Yeah. But yeah, so if Vettel's getting involved, then that's
quite a statement, yeah.
And, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, just not just on an international scene, in the South African context as well. We had, of course, the Solidarity E-Race, which I was personally involved with as well as the head race to it, and it was an incredible event, something that was put together in a week, and to have the commentators such as Sasha Montenegro and Greg Maloney commentating on the event was absolutely amazing. And just being part of all the behind-the-scenes action was a great experience for myself. And I'll tell you what, after the Solidarity race was finished, I was quite emotional as to what sim racing has achieved. Yeah, very, very special time. And we look forward to the second Solidarity race, of course, that being announced, I think it was yesterday. And we look forward to those details being published as to how things will run.
Yeah, excellent. It's good that went well. I see a lot of people getting involved with it, which is really good.
Yeah, absolutely. We had 135 drivers.
And as head steward, were the drivers well behaved?
The driving standards were very, very good, I felt. And I was watching the races, of course, live, trying to stick with all the cars that were close together and looking for any incidences. And the racing was very, very good. The way that the drivers handled themselves in different situations, and watching very closely, and there's some moves where I felt there was definitely going to be an accident, and there wasn't. It was just fantastic racing, and only very few penalties I had to hand out in the end.
Oh, that's good. Like, I give a German guy, the guy of head steward, be very strict on penalties. I think that was intentional.
Could be.
Yeah, he goes, oh,
Let's say the South African guy living in Germany. Let's not say the German guy.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
So some great racing now.
Once you've lived in Germany, you're institutionalized.
I suppose you could say that.
There's some great racing here as well. We've got Kieran Patterson, and behind Alan Patterson, I'm not quite sure how that happened. We missed, I think, with all the chat, because Kieran was ahead, but the Patterson guys, and we've got Corne Breed also getting involved into turn 1.
So here we go.
He's heading up the inside. No, not quite. Oh, he's having a go.
Keep it clean, keep it clean. Corne Breed's going to get the switchback, get the power down, side by side now with Kieran Patterson. Patterson right at the inside line now.
Corne Breed's seen a bit of action because he's got a smashed front and rear windscreens. So I'm not quite sure how you do front and back, but it's not seemed to affect the speed of that car because he's still right up the side of Alan Patterson. Again to the second chicane.
Oh, contact!
Contact here.
And Breed's collected Patterson. What is Breed going to do? He's not going to wait. Not feeling it was his mistake.
That's going to need a replay, I think, because they were side by side into there. I couldn't quite understand who really was at fault.
Yeah, we didn't quite have the right camera angle there.
No, that needs a different camera angle to see who was in front at the time.
Yeah, so I think I can expect a race investigation request after this race.
Yeah, give it to the head steward, guys. If you want an answer, an honest answer, give it to head steward here.
There we go.
Look back on the replay.
So Daniel got Dirk Swanepoel side by side with Dirk Brand. This is over 5th position on the run to Parabolica. And Dirk Brand makes that move work, and Neil Berger side by side with nobody. He's in fact got past Henry Roux, but Kieran Patterson's put a move
damage, hasn't he?
Yeah, on Hannes van Wyk.
Lap time's a bit slower than what I was expecting with fuel, to be honest. Is it track temperature pretty high? I can't see track temperature on my screens. Anyway, we can check. I should imagine it's quite high. Might explain why lap times at the moment. We've got fastest lap time from Nick Hodgson, 1:49.0. It's quite a significant drop in lap time. Devonshire is just over a tenth behind in 1:49.195.
Unfortunately, I can't see
Especially Nick on the soft tyres. I would expect a little bit quicker race pace, but obviously might be fueled quite heavily.
That's all about how long I think Nick Hodgson can make those tyres last.
Yeah, Nick might be a bit wary of the fact that they definitely went off a bit at Sebring. And Sebring's a completely different track from here, to be fair. Would expect tyres to be a little bit better here at Monza. But yeah, he will be wary that he was first to admit that he was a little bit all over the place at the end of the stint with his soft tyres at Sebring. And he's got to try and make those last if he wants to make a soft one pit stop, 2 sets of softs work on this 90-minute race. Devon Lish has got time in hand though. He might be going long on the mediums and pitting for the softs if he does a split strategy, so we'll watch out for that. 2 seconds in it between our 2 leaders. Definitely not over yet by any stretch. So how many drivers were there in that Solidarity race? Quite a few.
135.
135. You did it in splits, and then top 6 went through to the final, was it?
Yeah, so we did like a sort of a hot lap qualifying session. I think it lasted over 4 days. We took the top 100 drivers.
Okay, brilliant.
Then we split them up, and then we had a semi-final, and then we had a final.
I've had my head in the sand for like a week and a half, so I didn't unfortunately catch any of it. So next time I will make sure I do. And the winner was?
Was Alaric Enslin. So
Okay.
he won 10,000 Rand, and he
Wow.
won a test with a top Ottinger Polar Cup team. So we were looking forward to seeing how Alaric gets on in a real racing car around a real circuit, and we were all hoping that he gives the real racing drivers a good run for their money, and gives a good showing for the sim racers out there.
Yeah, brilliant. Well done to him.
And Alaric had a fantastic race with Zahir Essa and Bruno Cadele as well. Those were top 3 in the event, and they were very close on track before Alaric started disappearing further up the track to take victory in the end.
Someone's been spending a lot of time on ACC, obviously.
I think a lot of people did. And we recorded, I think it was over 10,000 laps.
Brilliant. Really good.
Throughout the qualifying stages. And absolutely fantastic.
So good showing from Sim Race South African guys, obviously.
Yes. Well represented in the final.
Yeah, brilliant.
And I was very happy with that. Okay, back to our race leaders now. It's Nick Hodgson leading the way by 2 seconds ahead of Devonishire. And Peter Kalnes is quietly getting on with things there in 3rd position, 4 seconds behind Devonishire. And Adrian Govender there in 4th position after making a number of good moves during the opening stages. Dirk Brand in Lamborghini in 5th position. He's got Turkey Swanepoel for company. And at the moment, this is our closest battle on track.
Got a few comments in chat about switching between sims and sticking with one over the other. I do tend to agree that if you do stick with one sim, you will be ultimately a bit quicker with that. But I personally, it feels really weird when you first switch from one that you spent a lot of time with into another sim. It feels very strange for the first hour or so, but it doesn't take long at all to get back up to speed. Even in ACC, I don't drive ACC at all whatsoever, but I just mostly use iRacing. But when I went on to Bathurst on ACC and actually put my mind to it and put a couple of hours in, I was matching times to my iRacing setup as well. So I think you can, if the simulator's good, you should be able to switch between them and pretty much get up to speed of where you were in your whatever your preferred sim is. So don't let that put you off.
Yeah, I think if you've got a bit
Certainly
of
though,
experience,
if you've got a huge amount of hours on one.
I think if you've got a bit of experience swapping between the two, you sort of approach the sims with different mindsets and it goes a bit quicker.
Yeah, I think it's more like learning the track. Once you've learned it in one sim, you've learned it in all the sims. So when I switched, I did an endurance race in iRacing at Bathurst. Never ever raced ACC Bathurst, but you know that they're all laser scanned now, so it feels exactly the same. It's not all of a sudden the corner's different. It's exactly as it was before. So it's just purely just getting used to the slight physics changes in the sim, but it doesn't take long to switch between, I didn't find. Might be the ultimate pace of those few tenths that you're always chasing might be in your preferred sim, though. I would have to probably agree with that one. But to at least get up to a competitive or close to your PB, I don't think it's out of the realms of possibility to switch between.
Yeah, I certainly don't think it's going to damage your progress to such an extent that it's just not worth doing it. No.
Depends how competitive you are, I suppose. I want to just concentrate on one. I'm determined to win at this one. Maybe, maybe. But if you're just out for a bit of a laugh or it's a bit of fun driving, which is we always encourage here, then yeah, don't let it put off having 2 different simulators. So still a very long way to go in this race, 15 laps in. Nick Hodgson's got past Devon Lisher on the soft tyres, but he's not running away with it by any stretch. Only 3 seconds up the road. And we're all waiting to see what happens to those softs compared to Lisher, or whether Lisher goes long and then goes a long stint heavy fuel and then a short stint with the softs. We saw Peter Geldnes do that, didn't we, at Sebring, but he did it back to front.
Yes.
And it sort of, he struggled in the first stint and then was mega quick in the second stint, having pole position. So to see whether Devon Lisher gets his strategy right, I did think Peter Geldnes got it back to front in the Sebring race.
And to Lionel Clue, if you're watching, I have received your sign-up. I'll get back to you as soon as this race is done. We'll get you racing on Wednesday evening. So big welcome to you, Lionel. We've got Hannes van Wyk. Is that another off? Is that a couple of those this evening? And he drops down to 11th position. The rear of the BMW has seen better days, that's for sure.
Yeah, front and back a bit damaged there, isn't it?
Yeah.
A bit more than a touch-up, that one.
Kieran Patterson now right on the rear bumper of Cornet Bread. Moves out the slipstream, trying to go around the outside of him, around Parabolica. That's brave. Can he hang it around the outside?
There's a few lines around Parabolica, but as wide as Kieran is, I don't think that is the line. He's gone a bit late in braking there, and it's probably compromised. You need to just all about getting a good exit out of Parabolica, because obviously the massive long drag until you get to turn 1. Kieran Patterson's tucked up by the side of him, though. Not going to be close enough to make a move into the braking of turn 1. It is a great final corner, though, Parabolica. It's pretty epic. I should imagine in a Formula 1 car that the G-forces they must pull around there must be insane. Would be quite an experience.
It must be quite something.
Obviously, the lap record is still Kimi Räikkönen. Brilliant. I hope he keeps it for a while. 2017, 1:19.1 in his Ferrari. Last time he was in a Ferrari. Well, last time he was in a Ferrari at Monza, I should say.
Simscape Racing asking if there'll be commentary as in a live stream for Wednesday's race. Yes, I do believe so. I do think that Alan Patterson and his team will do a live stream on Wednesday evening.
Yes, you can be famous on YouTube. You can post the link to your friends afterwards, well, providing you finish well. You ignore it. You ignore it if you have a nightmare. But if you're up there, you can share it around.
So Patterson now having another go at Bread. Bread's this time's opted for the outside line. I'm not sure if that's wise, as Dirk Brand pits from 5th position. And Bread is going to get the slipstream onto the main straight. He's dropped a bit too further back for his liking. However,
Alan's just passed Dirk Brand, but that's because Dirk Brand is in the pits.
Yes.
So we got our first pit stop on lap 17. Very, very early.
smells of this two-stopper.
Yeah, two-stopper or damage, definitely. Yeah, he says he's on the mediums as well, so I can't understand why he'd pit unless it was damage. Might not be an actual scheduled pit stop there, but we'll wait and see. Unless it's certainly saying he's on the mediums now. Didn't catch whether he was previously on the softs, whether he did a soft-medium stint. Hannes van Wyk is also in the pit stops in 13th place. Opportunity for some of these guys that have got some damage to do some repairs as well, if they've managed to hold out until pit stop time. What we're really interested in is Nick, Hodgson, Devon, Lish's pit stops, though, because they're lapping very, very close, within a tenth of each other. Lish is about a tenth behind Hodgson, but on the harder tyre. So it's just very, very interesting to see as this race progresses whether that closes up again.
Yeah, the question is if Nick Hodgson can get to the halfway stage of this race on the soft tyre. And if he's going into the pits in first or second position, it's going to be what this race is all about.
Yeah, at the moment he's still pulling away at like a tenth a lap. So he's not got problem at all 18 laps in. If he can get another 5 or 6 laps, then he'll be confident when he comes out that he can hold out for the win for this. But Lisha may be going long on these mediums. That's probably more the split strategy I'm interested in, whether Lisha goes medium softs in the Lamborghini, and then he's very, very quick at the end of this race and managed to pull that gap back. But he doesn't want to let Nick get too far down the road.
And as we know, an earlier pit stop can prove costly when dropping back behind traffic. And they might allow Lisha to sort of using a much longer stint to pit much later, but not pit back into traffic.
Yeah, we had that last time out, didn't we? Peter Geldner's come out in traffic, and it ruined his race, really. Yeah, so he wants to go as long as he can. I don't think we're going to see anything different from a one-stop from the two of them. It's just whether it's a long one-stopper for Lisha on the mediums.
So Dirk Brand, after his pit stop now, it's dropped back to 11th position, just second behind Barry Mayer. He'll be no doubt challenging Barry shortly on much fresher tyres. But as we just mentioned, Daniel, this is the danger of pitting too early, dropping back into traffic, and that can prove very costly. Let's see how Dirk gets on for the remainder of this race.
Yeah, because there's not many cut and dry passing positions here at Monza. Mostly breaking into the chicanes is where you're going to make a pass, but also quite a risky pass as well. So traffic can cost you a lot of time.
While the field is somewhat spread out, it's gone board with a lap of Monza with Nick Hodgson. So right now we are approaching Variante della Ruggia, turn 4 and 5. And now on the run to the two Lesmos. Lesmo 1, which is turn 6. Tricky corner to get right. You'll see different lines through there. And this all-important corner, Lesmo 2, turn 7. Very important to get a good drive out of that corner to speed it as much as possible down the straight towards the Ascari corners. Turn 8, 9 and 10. Dab of the brakes. Throw the car in, left-hander. And you've got the long winding right-hander and then a short left-hander. And then onto the back straight towards Parabolica, turn 11. But Hodgson looking very comfortable. And I think he'll be happy with his choice of using the soft tyre. And you can see how far back Lisha is on lap 20 or 49. Slowly approaching the halfway mark of this race, which I think then we'll see most of the pit stops happening. Where Patterson works out ahead of us, who's seen our race leader coming and has generously moved out the way. Allowed our race leader to go past him without any drama. Lisha's taken out 4/10 of a second over Hodgson's time that last lap. Could have something to do how Hodgson approached that back mark into turn 1. He had to take a bit of a wider line, which no doubt costed him drive down the next straight.
Now, this is where Lisha does need to, if he's going to get his strategy to work, does need to start gaining time on Hodgson though.
Charles Reynaud asks, on what lap are we? Well, if you look at the top part of your screen in the center, there's a lap counter, and it will say we are on lap 21 of 49. Sneaky Panda says, let's go Kieran and Patterson works. Excited to be representing the team on Monday at Imola with the Formula 3s. Henry Roux now right with Corno Bread, just half a second behind him as they approach Parabolica. Let's go on board with the Mercedes-Benz and compare the straight line performance of the two cars.
He's gaining on him, isn't he? It's going up the inside of Corno Bread into turn 1. Should make this pass. Henry Rowe does. He makes the pass stick. Goes up into 8th position.
Yeah, beautifully executed, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was textbook really, isn't it? That's a pass at Monza as you want it.
But Corno Bread's not having anything of it. He's coming back at the Mercedes-Benz. But Roux's got that corner covered. Driving nice and defensively. Slightly wide, but gets the drive down. Enough to stay ahead of the Bread Audi.
Hodgson's definitely consistently losing a little bit of time to Lisha now on lap 23. He's got a couple more laps to go before you'd expect him coming into the pits. So we're expecting a big train of pit stops in the next lap or two. Lap 24, 25. They should all be working their way in for a tyre change and a fuel stop. But it's just whether Devon Lisha comes in on lap 25 or whether he pushes a little bit longer. That's really what is could be interesting in the winner of this race, or could distinguish who wins this race, rather.
Mm-hmm. So it's the Rue Bread Batter Diffusers. We're on to the next one. This is between Barry Mayer and Dirk Brand over 10th position. Just 7/10 in it. Brand closing all the time. And yeah, we're just going to watch that gap between Hodgson and Lisher, because if Hodgson's tyres are going to go off in a spectacular way, it probably will start around about now.
Doesn't look like that's going to happen though, does
No,
it?
it
Because
doesn't.
I mean, he's done it. He's halfway through the race already, or he will be in the next lap, and it's not happened. So it's now really a case of whether Lisher splits his strategy and can be quicker with lower fuel on a soft tyre later. Otherwise, Nick Hodgson, if he carries on the way he's got it, then he's got this one pretty much covered by the looks of it pace-wise.
It's all about what's going to happen in the pit stops and what happens after that. How long does Lisher go, really, is the big question.
Yeah, we'd be looking to him to sort of go lap 30, possibly, for him to really throw a spanner in the works. As far as strategy goes, if Lisher can push this to lap 30 and then he's got less fuel and changes to a set of softs, he's obviously going to have a slightly slower pit stop as well, and he's going to be immensely quick at the end of this race. And obviously he did get pole position, albeit by a very small margin, to be fair. So Nick Hodgson was quite nailed on for pole right up until Lisher just beat him, but less than a 10th in it between those two.
On board now with Mark McGeer in the Sol McLaren. We are 9/10 of a second behind Hannes van Wyk. And Hannes van Wyk has just come past us, which has put us down in 13th. So not a track that suits the McLaren. Whoa, as I say that,
straight into the wall, lost it. And,
yeah. So that's Hannes van Wyk
there
in the wall. Can he get going again? That's the question. Yes, he can.
It's going to have a bit of damage, I think. That's the problem here. You go off, you're going to hit some barriers, and that really should be the end. But he's off going. Got a bit of a bent wing on that Z4. Pattersons are having a family squabble for 6th and 7th position. So they come up to Ascari as well.
Now, Alan will be very happy
about
what's happening at the moment, because he's often talking about that he can't believe how quick Kieran is.
A bit of pressure's work there, because Alan's gone very wide.
Yeah.
And Kieran's got him.
So Kieran now up into 6th position. I'm sure Kieran having a bit of laugh seeing his old man off the circuit like that.
Yeah, old men can't take the pressure, you see. It's the young blood and the reactions. I got the slow reactions as you get older. They definitely get slower. Not much you can do about it.
So Holden-Jones and Swanepoel into the pits now from 4th and 5th position as the two Pattersons, of course.
Nick Hodgson's looking stronger and stronger as every lap goes by, because we're lap 25 and he hasn't pitted yet. So he's not got an issue of traffic. And he's not losing pace. A very, very strong showing here this evening by Nick Hodgson.
Yeah, he seems to have got rid of his knack about making mistakes at the beginning of the races, and that's putting him in good
he
stead
had a whole
now.
season or two where he just really pushed that first stint and made a mistake, and it cost his race.
You picked that up a couple of races ago, and I remember you saying that if Nick can just sort out his mistakes in the sort of the opening laps, you will do well. And
he'll be very pleased with his progress this year, I think, because he's been much, much more consistent. He's always been quick, Nick, 100%, always been quick. But it's the consistency is what he was after, and he's the last couple of races certainly showed that.
Good, so our race leader Hodgson and Devonish in second have come into the pits together. So we wanted Lisher to go a bit longer to make it interesting, but they have come in together.
Happened, does it?
No, so
now it's just whether Lisher stays on those medium tyres or whether he moves onto the softs. The softs last, so he might have been a bit conservative and going onto the mediums, but actually the softs have not proven a problem here at Monza this evening.
Carpenter's in from 3rd. And Hodgson's leaving the pits now. What's Lisha doing? He's also leaving the pits now. So pretty equal on pit stop times there.
Lisha's come out on the softs though, so we have had a change from Lisha. He's changed his tyres from mediums to softs. Will this make a difference? Will it make 5 seconds of a difference in this stint? If it does, he might be a bit upset that he went conservative in that first stint going on the mediums. You might as well give it a try though, I think.
Bit of a mistake there from Devon Lisha on the cold soft tyres. Bit of a wobble there into turn 1.
These all feel brilliant to Devonish. After being on the mediums, though, whenever you do race stint preparation, and then you suddenly put your quali set up and your softs or your super softs or whatever it may be, they feel epic. They feel so much better. You've got grip. You can brake later. You get more confidence. It's the way to go. If you start with the worst tyre and you go onto the better tyre, it's okay. Where I struggle is where you start on the softs and then you think, oh, I'll try a stint on the mediums or a hard, and then it feels terrible. So these should feel good to Devon now.
So the gap has crept up from, what was it, 3.5 seconds to just almost 6 seconds.
I think when they came in, they're about 4 and a bit, weren't they? Yeah. So yeah, he's maybe lost a second for sure. Yeah. Take a little bit more getting used to, familiarising himself with a different tyre compound and how much later he can brake. I'm going to say with that tyre change and 25 laps, I'm going to be very surprised if Lisha isn't very close behind Hodgson towards the end of this race. So definitely be keen to keep an eye on that. Rest of the field is
not if he keeps doing that.
No, bloody hell, Devon! Come on, sort it out, boy.
So that gap has crept up to what, 7.5 seconds now.
If you cut the camera to Hodgson, I'll pay him a few compliments and we'll see him run wide as well. We'll even it out. We're talking about his brilliant consistency. Let's see whether let's look at it with a magnifying glass.
I think Nick Hodgson's got that setup nailed in the BMW 2 and the soft tyres.
Yeah.
And I don't think Lisha's got an answer for Hodgson. I hope I'm wrong. And I hope you have a better race towards the end.
Well, certainly he's lost 2 seconds in this first couple of laps, so I don't understand why, but those soft tyres are not acting well. Maybe it'll take a bit of time to warm up, I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm. But Devon Lisha just feeling the pressure a bit too much and pushing the soft tyres a bit too hard at the beginning of the stint.
Yeah, amazing. Sometimes you think, oh, I've got to be quicker on these, and you actually are slower because you just push a bit too hard. Mm. So you said you want to go and visit Monza, but you want to be a bit... I went when there wasn't a race going on. You might also want to go when there isn't a race going on, because they've had 35 spectators die at Monza.
Wow.
I have to ask, where were they? What were they doing? It's probably in the early years, must be, because you can't get too close to the tarmac these days. Yeah. But that's a hell of a lot of deaths from spectators. I mean, there's only 50 deaths from drivers, so 35 spectators is a bit of a worry for Italian health and safety. I'm not sure you get that at a German circuit.
No, it's had our share of very bad accidents.
Yeah.
And just recently at the Nürburgring, where the GT3 car that went over the fence into the crowd. There was a couple.
I think the Nürburgring must have had spectators, because I've seen videos of spectators doing completely stupid things there, and they sort of deserve to be in trouble. But Monza circuit is surprising, I have to say. So as we look through the timing sheets, everyone's settled into their positions now, isn't it? There's no tight fights happening anywhere really, particularly in the middle of this race. This is where we need a bit of rain.
Well, go on then, start your rain dance. So you want to hang over rain dancing, make it rain in AC.
I would be dancing behind this microphone, young brothers going up and down. Yeah, you've got no idea. I'm not even lying. But in Assetto Corsa, unfortunately, it's a bit futile, isn't it?
Am I right in saying that I think there is rain being developed for Assetto Corsa, I think?
I wouldn't put it past the mod community.
I
It's
did hear
insane
something
what
like
they
that,
do.
because I know the custom
Yeah.
shaders you can have sort of visual rain, but it doesn't actually make the track wet.
I wonder whether the physics engine's capable of actually translating what the graphics is showing to actually doing something like the other sims that have got rain built into them. But yeah, the mod community here is so nuts. I would not put it past them by any stretch.
A couple of years ago, we would have said that things that have been put out these days are to be impossible, but they've done it. So
100%. They really dragged this sim through an extra 3 or 4 years of what it should have lasted. But it's good to have it. But
Mike McGear there, and the pressure from Neil Berger. He's outbraked himself.
Yeah, he just thought different of that one, McGear.
Under pressure now from Barry Mayer. Oh, Mike McGear just lets him go. I wonder if he got confused there between the two Patterson Works Audis.
When's the rainiest possible time for Kyalami in the year? I want you to set the track. I want you to set. I'm going to look it up before the race, Jason. I'm going to do some preparation and find out historically the wettest day of the year in Joburg and give it to you. just so you can set that time of day, more specifically the time of year, just right for that race. But we'll look forward to it.
Yeah. But of course, I can't say it's definitely going to rain in the ACC. I can increase the chances, but I can't say, hey, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon it will rain.
I don't want to get in trouble with the drivers. I'm just thinking of the spectators. The drivers hate it, and I completely understand. The E-Solidarity race, did you have rain there at all?
No, it was dry. It's very dry.
Oh, okay. Either that or next season I'm going to do the schedule and it's going to be every track in a terrible part of the world. We go to circuits we've never heard of before, but they always get rain. So, Nick Hodgson, Devon Lisher. I've, again, been terrible in commentary because Devon Lisher's gone onto the soft tyres and he's been consistently slower. I can't understand why. He's going to come through afterwards and tell us that his tyres were massively overheating for some reason. Yeah. Because he's 9 seconds down and he's a second slower than he was on the mediums. It doesn't make sense. 149.6 as he goes past the start line there. And he was...
It could be that he's developed the setup around the medium tyres and hasn't done much testing at all on the soft tyre.
Yeah,
and he probably looked at the gap back.
He got pole on the softs. Yeah. I don't understand what the issue is. Yeah. He wasn't even quick for a couple of laps and then they overheated. He was just slow straight out of the pits, wasn't it? It's weird.
He's probably coming to the pits looking at the gap back to third and thought, I'll roll the dice. Let's just put the soft tyre on and let's see what happens. And the gamble hasn't paid off for him.
I just can't understand how he can be slower and yet he got his pole position on softs. I mean, unless the fuel has just ruined that car. Could be very, very strange, has to say. I'd understand if he was quick for a couple of laps and then he fell off, but he struggled as soon as he switched over, really, and his lap times has dropped a bit. We'll get Devon on Discord later, and he'll be telling us that his brake pedal fell off or something strange happened on his rig. That's usually what happens, but there's probably an explanation.
Kieran Patterson now starting to chase down Dirk Brand. Just 2 seconds in that fight. So giving us something to look forward to is Kieran. And he's a good 7 seconds ahead of his dad at the moment.
That's all that matters, isn't it? It's beating your teammate, beating your dad. That's the only thing that's important to Kieran this evening. And then the dads can just be, it's fine, I'm proud of my son. You see, it's better than brother relationship.
It's a circle of life.
Speaking from experience, father-son is always going to be better than siblings.
It's a circle of life.
Yeah, that's it. Dirkie Swanepoel is good as well. It's great that he's managed to get through a race without any connection issues, and he's having a great race up in 5th position. Very well done to him. He's been plagued by a few disconnects and issues, but no such problems this evening for him at Monza. Yeah, this race needs some rain now. We need some sprinklers or something. We need some spectators running across. I don't know. We need something. Unbelievably, this is the cleanest Monza race I've ever spectated or seen. There's not been any issues whatsoever. No major accidents. A few little scuffs and duffs here, but not. Turn 1's been remarkably clean this evening. Very respectful driving. So back to Monza. I was actually read up about it before I went there because I didn't know much about it really. But it's the third oldest circuit ever, purpose-built circuit, not just we started racing randomly.
Okay.
Behind Brooklands and Indianapolis. So when we say an historic circuit, we really do mean it, and it hasn't changed all that much really.
Okay.
It always started off with the main circuit and an oval circuit, as we see Kieran Patterson go wide. It always started off with like three circuits in one, and then it was later on that they sort of abandoned the oval. But fundamentally, it's very, very, very similar to how it began. Obviously, it began without chicanes, unbelievably. They just didn't need them to slow them down, but now it's a necessity.
Yeah.
This is the case we see with lots of circuits around the world. Originally, they didn't have chicanes in them, and now that's the method to, it's like speed bumps in your security estate or a housing estate, making slow people down. Often it's only a temporary solution though, with cars getting quicker and quicker. This Ascari section is especially quick. So you see Corno Breed up behind Henry Rowe, has a very good exit out of Ascari.
It's much quicker than Henry Reed
taking Parabolica. Henry goes defensive, but you don't want to compromise your last corner here because you'll just be a sitting duck down the straight into turn 1. Very, very tight line here from Henry Rowe. I think he might be struggling into the T1. Defensive driving again from Henry Rowe. Corno Breed's not exactly catching though, is he? He's just starting to now. Henry's covering that inside line.
Breed actually hitting the rev limiter there. Under braking.
Yeah, he would have set his gearing up without thinking of the draft in mind. So we've got a bit of a battle on here. This is excellent. Henry Rowe and Corno Breed, they started similar sort of times to Sim Race South Africa a couple of seasons ago, I think.
Yeah, I'd say that.
I think so. Henry's certainly come on leaps and bounds. He's a local boy to me, lives in Gordons Bay. Corno Breed's up country, I believe. I'm not 100% sure, but he's certainly not my area.
Mm-hmm.
Last lap we saw Henry just struggle a bit in Ascari, so let's see whether Corne is quicker through Ascari again, going down to the Parabolica drag. Most technical part of the circuit by quite a long stretch, really, this Ascari section. Appears like Henry Rowe's got it covered, though. Not quite sure how that gap shrunk so quickly. It must have been a mistake somewhere by one of these drivers, but Henry Rowe seems to have put a clean lap in now and has pulled it back to a second. Yes, I haven't gone to Nürburgring like you. Have you actually driven around the circuit, the Nordschleife, or?
I have not yet actually.
Oh really?
No, I haven't.
How can you go there and not? I'll take. You want a rental car or something, and just the fastest car is a rental car, not your own car.
Just yeah, you can actually go there and you can go rent a sports car, whatever, or a supercar. Of some
yeah, you
kind.
don't want a sports car. You want like a Hertz Ford Fiesta. And you pay, was it 15 euros?
Yeah.
I think it was 15 euros. I haven't, I should have went. When I was living in the UK, obviously it was so you can drive. I should have done it. I feel stupid. That and Le Mans should have went there, and now it's a bloody long way to go. But yeah, you want to borrow your mum's mum's Ford Focus and just go out to the shops via Nordschleife.
I try and go to the Nürburgring twice a year. What I love to do is go to the Old Timer Grand Prix every year. It's sort of a vintage and classic car meeting. And it is just mind-blowing. I think you can compare it to Goodwood, that sort of class of event.
Okay, cool.
And
do they do like a,
it's just silly. You're watching sort of Ferraris with 50 million euros racing against, I don't know, Brabhams worth 60 million euros, and the drivers are giving it absolutely everything. It is the most brilliant.
Really? So they are actually thrashing them. That's
ever.
brilliant.
And you hear the sounds of the V12s and the V10s and the V8s and the flat fours, and whatever you're into, there's something there for you.
Nice. What time of year is that?
It's generally, I think it's in August. Yeah, beginning of August, I would say. Don't quote me on that, but I think somewhere around that time. And then the other time to go, of course, is for the Sim Racing Expo. That is in September normally. And then that's combined normally with the GT series as well.
Well, what we want is next time you're there, we want you to put a GoPro on the front of your borrowed car and take it around for us. We don't care if it's a 15-minute lap.
Yeah.
20-minute laps, fine. Just that's what I'm not. If you go there, you're not going to go silly, are you? You're just going to take it in, keep on the outside, keep one eye on the rear view mirror for anyone quick coming up behind you. Shabine Smith's in a van, and then just poot it around. But it'd be worth it, I would imagine. Pretty cool.
Kieran Patterson right with Dirk Brand now, just 0.7 of a second in it. And in fact, Kieran Patterson did quite well in the Solidarity race. He actually finished 18th in the final. So
that's very good.
Top 18 for him. And the other driver in this race that did well was Neil Berger. He finished 22nd. If I just go down the names and see if there's anyone else here that I recognize. So of course, we know he came second. Quay Claessen's in 5th position. In the final, Leslie Oliphant in 7th. And Mark Hennebury in 11th. Mark van Rensburg, who does our ACC events, came 15th. Charles Wilkin, of course, in 17th. Kieran Patterson in 18th. And then Werner Henop in the 19th position. So, yes, Sim Race SA was quite well represented in the final. Yeah, it was fantastic.
So, very good representation then from our guys.
Yeah.
As I would expect, no less, because the standard has always been exceptional in Division 1, GT3. If it was an Assetto Corsa, I'd be even more surprised if there wasn't more guys right up there, because really, really is exceptional standard now. I mean, they've been racing for years and years, that we're really looking at world record pace more often than not.
Yeah.
Assetto Corsa, still some of our quick guys are still getting used to it, but they're all very, very, very quick. No doubt with a bit of extra practice they've had the last few weeks that they would have got comfortable with all the setting changes, and we'll be right up there as the season progresses. Now, that's when we need a bit of rain like this race to change things up a little bit, because they get so consistent.
Patterson right now with Brand, just 1/10 of a second in it, clearing the slipstream of the Lamborghini. And Dirk Brand places his car well, runs
around the outside from Patterson.
Kieran's
a bit too wide there.
Yeah. Oh, Dirk Brand's running wide. So great racing between these two drivers. And,
Dirk Brand's keeping the line that he always wants. Doesn't matter who's there. Kieran Patterson's got to make his way past. Don't think he's got enough to go up the inside in turn 1 yet. It'll be a bit of a lunge. He thinks better of it.
So Dirk Brand keeping the Solidarity race finalist behind him. He'll be very happy about that. So Dirk Brand, someone that's improving all the time.
So Devon Lisher, the soft tyre, regardless of what I said, just ignore everything that I ever say, guys, because he's 17, 18 seconds behind Nick Hodgson now. I have no idea what's happened in the second stint for Devon Lisher, but something fundamental has changed in that car, because he's just consistently slower than our leader, and it's turning out to be a very, very easy race for Nick Hodgson. I mean, Devon Lisher did it 2 minutes. What was that, 2 minutes? Yeah, he lost 10 seconds on that lap.
Yeah, if he keeps it going like this, he's going to come under pressure from Peter Kellness. There's just 9 seconds in it now.
Yeah, he had a massive drop of 11 seconds in that last lap, Devon Lisher. So he made a big mistake, but he's just not being comfortable. As soon as he come out of the pits, he's just not being comfortable. We've assumed he'd be quicker, and he just hasn't been at all. So something has changed in that car, and I'd be surprised if it is simply the switch from mediums to softs without him knowing. I'd be quizzing him after the race to find out what's happened and why he's lost so much time. In the meantime, we've got Kieran Patterson again fighting it out for 6th place with Dirk Brown. Can't quite get close enough to make a move into turn 1. Yeah, Peter Gelding has just been going along. We've not mentioned him hardly at all. We've not seen anything of him in this race. But he's got 3rd position to himself, and he has done pretty much since the start. So he's probably had the most boring race he's ever had here at Sim Race South Africa, just going around in 3rd place relentlessly. But if he keeps it up, he could be fighting for 2nd, by the end of this race, if Lisher doesn't sort himself out a little bit.
Patterson and Brown having a fantastic race. The two cars pretty evenly matched on lap time, I think. That Lamborghini just a bit quicker down the straights, but the Audi's definitely stronger through the corners. Making for a good fight now. We're on lap 38 of 49. Oh, Kieran's made a mistake. We've seen it a couple of times this evening. He makes progress and then he throws it away. I think it's the 3rd or 4th time we've seen that.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of a theme of the Patterson cars, isn't it? They've just made a few uncharacteristic errors. Dropped in more positions than they've gained. So Kieran's got to start again, really, building up in his pace, because he's, he dropped to 1.5 seconds in that lap with that error. Geldnes is stabilising around 10 seconds behind Lisher. I think Lisher had some major mistake that we didn't quite catch. Lost sort of 11, 12 seconds in one lap. And it's given a massive gap to Nick Hodgson now in 1st position. He will be watching his relative in his cockpit and just thinking, wow, pretty much like the last race at Sebring, I've done what I needed to do. Just got to keep it clean. Don't need to worry too much about lap times, but he's still doing a 49 dead. So, yeah, it's been very, very impressive drive from Nick Hodgson.
Yeah, absolutely. Hodgson coming up to a back marker, and that is Neil Berger. Oh, Hodgson now breaks himself again. We saw that on the previous corner. Hodgson just needs to... Oh, as Patterson's got past Brand for 6th. I think Brand's made a mistake, and that's allowed Kieran through. That's a pity for us. I was hoping for another fight between those two.
Yeah, this is where we need the replay function, isn't it? I have to say, starting to So to like a few features in ACC, there's some that I missed from AC for sure. But yeah, the replay function is quite handy to have for streaming.
Come on, modders, you can do it. Replay function.
Yeah, give us a replay.
You can make it rain. I'm sure you can do a replay as well.
Yeah, unfortunately, by the time they get there, we might have already moved on, I'm afraid. But got to admire what they've done. So Kieran Patterson back up into 6th place. He's had that 6th place on and off all evening, hasn't he? Without mistakes, I would hazard a guess that he would be a little bit further up the field, to be honest. Kieran Patterson. Alan as well in 8th position. We've just seen those two just go off a few too many times. It's lost them more places than they've gained, unfortunately. Hodgson just blasting past the back marker there.
There's Neil Berger.
So Lisha was pretty quick on that lap, and it's absolutely for nothing now. He was 1:48.5, which is the fastest lap of the race. So all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Devon Lisha pulls the fastest lap of the race, and it's completely pointless. Unfortunately, Nick Hodgson doesn't even have to try. So I just can't explain what's happened there for Lisha in the Lamborghini. Something is definitely gone on with that car.
It's got big damage to the front of it, that's for sure.
Don't know what it is, unfortunately. So he's got damage on the front of it, so he went off with that 12-second loss, but all of a sudden he does the fastest lap of the race. So not really any fights down throughout the field. They're settled in their positions of 9 laps to go. The tightest gap is 5 seconds, really. Alan Patterson to Dirk Brand. So there's quite substantial gaps throughout the field now. But 16 guys in the field. How many are in on Wednesday night in the Division 2 race, Jason?
I think at the moment it's about 12, I think.
12, is it? Okay.
But I think we will, if we don't have more GD3 entries, we might enter sort of like a Class B. Then I thought about running perhaps the Lotus Evora GDC for any Division 1 drivers who want to race in that race as well, but not in the same class.
Yeah, give it a go maybe.
And try and get some increased numbers of it. Yeah.
We've got Corne Breed, DNF.
Oh, that looks like a disconnect. That looks like a disconnect, yeah. Oh, big pity
that's
there.
Unfortunate.
Yeah. I think he will still earn points if he's made 90% race distance, so I think it's alright. Let me just have a quick look here. No, he won't, in fact. 90% of 49 is 44. But Bread's back in. Bread has rejoined the server. There he is. And has rejoined in 14th position.
That's always really irritating when that happens, isn't it? Yeah, unfortunately for Corne Breed, he dropped a few places. It's probably not his fault whatsoever. Only disappointment was, I suppose, same as your car breaking down in real life, isn't it?
Yeah.
Completely out of your control. That's the only disappointment with sim racing, is if you have a technical issue. If you bin it into the wall, you don't mind. Well, you're upset with yourself, but at least there's a reason for it. When your computer turns off, There's nothing more frustrating than internet connection or something failing you. So Lish is super quick now. He's putting that time back, and it's making no difference whatsoever, whether it's a 20-second gap or a 15-second gap. It's still a too big a gap, unfortunately, with only 7 laps to go. But he's finally found his pace in the Lamborghini with the soft tyre combination. So maybe it was just the fuel load, as the fuel load burns off. But too many uncharacteristic errors, I think, in that second stint. It was so tight in the first stint, and you could explain the gap purely with tyre compound. And then the second stint, unfortunately for us as spectators, has not led to the fight that we thought we were going to get. Still a great looking car though, Lamborghini, I have to say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very intimidating on track. Yeah, throughout the rest of the field, we're struggling to find a battle, that's for sure. People are pretty much settled into their positions now, barring mistakes. Pretty much wouldn't expect too many changes in the leaderboard. Had some very lonely drives by a couple of guys, Peter Geldners and Adrian Govender. We haven't really seen anything of those two. They've been super consistent in 3rd and 4th. They've just been minding their own business and going around, but there's a lot to be said for that. Both very good driving for 3rd and 4th positions. Turkey Swanepoel as well has also kept himself out of trouble, running in 5th place. Finds himself 20 seconds back behind Govender, but got a clean Audi, which is always a good sign.
Ooh, as Swanepoel just kicks up some dirt. Audi got slightly sideways, but he hung on to it. And keeps going.
I have a tendency when you get into this sort of situation where you've got a huge gap front and back, I flick the delta on with my button box, so you got your delta on. You start chasing your delta because you're a little bit bored, and then you can get yourself into some problems. You should always leave the delta off. Is my advice to sim racing drivers, because that green bar can do weird things to your inputs.
Yeah.
If you suddenly see yourself go green or too far red, and then you start messing about with it. So just advice, if you find yourself in a position you got nowhere to go, just be happy with the position, rather than start chasing ultimate lap time, because you're only going to end up in tears, unfortunately.
Yeah, when I get in a lot of clear air, I tend to slow down, but almost slow down too much that I sort of lose my reference points for my muscle memory, as it were, and then I start making very, very silly mistakes. And my mind starts to wonder. Yeah, it just
100%.
It just removes that sharpness.
Chasing lap time. Yeah, I'm like, I've got nothing to do. Let's see whether I can get my fastest lap of the race, and inevitably I get my slowest lap of the race, followed by a trip across the grass somewhere.
So
this is what you have to deal with endurance racing. It's not you got to keep that concentration up, keep the consistency up, and try and resist the temptation to do something stupid, which sounds easy but is actually incredibly difficult the longer the race goes on. God, Lish is it's really disappointing to me that Lish is gaining at a good half second a lap I mean, to be fair, Hodgson is being very, very sensible, doing exactly what I'm saying he shouldn't do. And he's judging the fact that he's got 4 laps left of this race. It doesn't matter if he loses 2 seconds a lap, does it? So
Yeah.
there might be a little bit of that in there as well, because Lisha did pass the line at 1:49, which is not incredibly quick, but it's still a quick lap. But
he was 6
I
tenths.
don't think Hodgson's is pushing
6 tenths faster than Lisha that lap, and as he takes a trip across the
yeah.
turn 1.
I think Hodgson's in lift and coast mode though, isn't he? I think, and he would be forgiven for doing that. That's the sensible move. He's just got to nurse that BMW for the finish. 4 more laps to go, and he's got 12 seconds in hand. Sometimes too, though, you can have a massive lead, and when you watch that relative just starting to drop a little bit, it's amazing how you can get concerned, even though it's completely irrelevant to a certain extent. You just start getting a few doubts. You don't want to make a mistake. So it's a lot to be said for being consistent over the whole 90 minutes. But we saw that last time from Nick Hodgson, and I expect to see it again now. Patterson's catching up with Dirk Brand. Obviously, we had Kieran get past him. And now Dad wants a bit of the action as well. Two commentators that they commentate together, don't they? Dirk Brand and Alan Patterson. So a bit of commentary rivalry here.
I think Dirk sort of moved into a cameraman position.
Yeah.
And Alan Patterson and Nick Hodgson started commentating together, I think it is.
Oh, is that okay? All right.
I think that's the setup at the moment, or that will be the setup going forward.
Yeah.
But yeah, just with 3 laps remaining. Yeah, we've got the Division 2 race coming up on a Wednesday evening. And yeah, if you're interested in Assetto Corsa and you want to come and do some sim racing, why not sign up and come race on Wednesday night? I think Wednesday night is a great opportunity to sort of get started somewhere in South Africa. And,
yeah, it's not like you've got anything else to do on Wednesday night.
Yeah, exactly.
You might as well sign up and do some racing.
Yeah, and yeah, do some racing and sort of standard driving.
Do something to do during
pretty
Wednesday
good.
day as well, prepping for the race.
And the Division 2 drivers aren't crazy fast, so yeah. Patterson now just 1.2 seconds behind Brand. He's got 2 and a bit laps remaining. He needs to get on with it now if he has to challenge Brand.
We've got a question in chat from Gert, watching for the first time. He's a question that the car numbers, could they get shown on the leaderboard? I don't think it's actually possible, unfortunately. Car numbers is something that you pick when you sign up. You choose your preferred number. If that number isn't being used, then that's the number you get. If the number is already in use, then you've just got to pick an alternative number. So it's a personal preference on numbers. I get why that could be helpful in the leaderboard when you've got like the Patterson Works team where they're all driving the same liveries, knowing which one's which. But yeah, you can always tell which one we're currently got on live stream because you'll see the white box and them highlighted in the leaderboard on the left-hand side of the stream. Yeah. And also when we're on ACC in a couple of weeks' time, it will highlight them as well. But in ACC, you do actually get the car numbers, I believe, don't you, rather than just like 1 to 16.
Yeah, so actually ACC literally uses the car numbers in the sim. Or in AC, it's just really cosmetics. Yeah.
the difference between the two leaderboards, really. But the disadvantage in ACC is we don't have the live deltas, which is really irritating. Hopefully they change that. But yeah, the car numbers is something that I don't think we can do at the moment. We've got Alan and Patterson right up now, side by side going into turn 1. Oh, I don't think there's space there, Alan.
Oh, contact.
He's going to make it. No, he's not.
So Ultimish Mohammed says, what app is being used to show the leaderboard? If it's a mod, I can try and add functionality to show race numbers next to the drivers' names. Okay, so yes, it is a app, a third-party app. It is called ACTV,
isn't it?
Yeah. It's available on racedepartment.com. Yeah, it'd be cool to have the car numbers in the leaderboard. It's not something I think that we definitely need, because we do have it in ACC, and the South African simGT series will probably move away from AC.
Oh, that's a big mistake there from Alan Patterson, straight into the wall, out the second Lesmo. Yeah, unfortunate. He was pushing, wasn't he, to try and get 7th place.
Yeah.
And he's pushed a bit too hard there.
So, yeah, Ultimish, it's not something that we definitely need. I don't want to sort of waste your time on anything when we don't use it. But I think the South African GT series will probably move to only using ACC from next season. And in fact, this is probably the penultimate round of the South African simGT series using AC. So
and I would hazard a guess we might potentially be seeing some GT4 in ACC as well. I would guess going into the next season, but we shall see.
Yeah, I'm not going to confirm it now, but yes, the GT4 pack is coming, and a pack of British tracks as well. So that's quite exciting.
Yeah, and all of those are going to be added. I'm going to put my foot down and ensure that every British track is added to the rostrum. I'll let Kyalami once, purely because it's South African, but all the other tracks need to be British, purely because it rains there every time I go. And not because I'm patriotic in any way, then I have to see British. I don't care where they are in the world, but the chances of rain at a British track are significantly higher than the chances at Kyalami.
The British tracks are just fantastic. They're old school, they're tight.
They're good tracks as
well.
Very
interesting.
The Brits know motorsport, don't they? Let's be honest.
Yeah,
I mean, we're not good at a lot of things, but motorsport is something that we are pretty good at.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to having those tracks on ACC.
Yeah, more content. Is always welcome, especially when it's great content like that. Pretty sure we'll be seeing that in a live stream shortly. In the meantime, we're on the final lap of this race, and Nick Hodgson, he's literally just paced himself beautifully throughout this race, especially the second stint where he's had a huge gap, and he's just used it perfectly as he's let it drop down to 10 seconds, but it's still going to be a significant win and a very, very consistent drive. So brilliant race by Nick Hodgson. He's pretty much been flawless here, I'd say, at Monza, and he was quite he wasn't complimentary about himself at Sebring, even though he won that one quite easily. He had it all his own way, but actually Devon Lisher, he was very quick the whole of the first stint, and Hodgson was under pressure. He also had to make the pass, don't forget. So there's a great win there by Nick Hodgson. Well done to him.
Yeah, congratulations to him in Point Blank Racing. And Lisher, of course, will get second. Oh, he's slowed right down. What's happened to Lisher? Has he run out of fuel?
He's run out of fuel.
Has he?
Literally parked it on the line. No. He's got it over. He's got it over.
So, yeah,
whoa, Lisher, what was all that about? He almost lost it by a metre.
Bit
of action for commentary there.
He will run up the field, or the podium, as it were, should I say. So Haynes will get third position.
Yeah, very well. We didn't see a lot of Peter Holden-Jones this evening, but he solidly worked for his third place.
You'll be happy with that. And Governed also someone who's been quiet. Daniel, he'll get 4th position for Point Blank. Of course, Hodgson's
Yeah, we saw him
teammate.
right at the start of the race, and that was it.
Yeah.
Basically. But well done.
Turkey Swanepoel, enjoying a better internet connection this evening. He will complete the top 5. He'll be happy with that, I'm sure. And Kieran Patterson. So many mistakes from him this evening.
Quite a beat up looking Audi, but he's going to get 6th position still, despite all of those off tracks.
Dirk Brandt, he's under pressure from Alan Patterson. This is over 7th position.
Don't think it's going to be enough of a drag over the finish line to have a switch here. So he should claim his 7th place in front of Alan Patterson and Henry Rowe.
Yeah.
Neil Berger finishes the top 10.
Yeah.
Literally parking on the finish line.
And that's it for this evening.
Yeah, that's a wrap.
That's a wrap for round 4 of the South African simGTc series, our AC leg of the overall GT series. Well, Daniel, thank you very much for joining this evening. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, thanks very much. We'll look forward to the next rainy Kyalami in 2 weeks' time.
In 2 weeks' time, yeah, on the 4th of May is the big race. 90 minutes of Kyalami. And until then, everybody, stay healthy, and we'll see you then. Cheers for now.